So I am live with yet another session of Why I Fail, What I Learned. So this is my ninth session. I had taken earlier around 8 sessions. You could find my session in my YouTube channel. Hey, thanks for joining. So you could find my session in the YouTube channel, and so today's session is very interesting. But before we get into it, a short introduction of it is that a short introduction is that I am Manisha. I am an engagement manager. Hi Wasim. Thanks for joining. So I am an engagement manager, and I am a trained image consultant, practicing soft skill trainer, and an aspiring life coach. So these sessions are part of my Why I Fail, What I Learned series. Today is the ninth session, like I mentioned. Today we are going to talk about, and we are going to see that if you are feeling vulnerable, if you are feeling stuck in your life, what you should do, what is the mindset you should have, and what are the 7 steps that you should take so that you make sure that you're making most out of the situation of feeling vulnerable. Okay, so in my previous session, so if you have not seen the sessions, it is some of them are also available in my IGTV, so you can go and have a look at them. Also, it is uploaded in my YouTube channel. So in the previous session, which was on the importance of goal setting, we discussed that how having goals is important, how having how having challenging goals, it shapes your brain. Okay, so that was what we had seen in our previous session. So but having even though you have goals set for yourselves and action items which are defined derived out of them, there are some times wherein you feel that you are kind of a directionless, you are kind of stuck in where you are and you don't know where to move. So that feeling of vulnerable, that whether I am doing correct or whether the situation is right for me, that often and typically comes in and creeps into our life at a given frequency. So for me, it is like every 2 years I am into that situation of feeling stuck, especially from the professional point of view. So now that you know that, let me tell you quickly that why this feeling of stuck is not a bad thing and it is an important thing. Here I'm going to share you. Um, I will share you this. So if you can see this, um, so this is basically your life, and this is a normal S curve. This S curve is it's used in many different areas. It is used in product development life cycle. It is used in many different areas. So here I have used the S curve in defining your age, your lifetime versus your achievement. So if you see in the x-axis, you have your age, and then y-axis you have your achievement. So basically here we are talking about two achievement A and achievement B. So you start your any achievement, you start by being kind of a beginner, and then you move into this advanced level, and then you become an expert. So that expert is where you see that the flattening of the curve, yeah, or basically hi Tripti, thanks for joining. So the expertise is the field where is the place where you know that okay, you have mastered. So this is the flattening of the curve which we are all hoping for in terms of the coronavirus. So the same picture can be plotted for our achievement versus our life or our age. So now you have seen this, there is a small place which is kind of a grade. So that is the place typically wherein we feel vulnerable, wherein we are moving from one achievement to another achievement. Hi Shranjit, thanks for joining. So wherein we are moving from one achievement to another achievement. So this is a very important juncture of our life. Okay, so why this is important? Because it could tend towards either aspect. So if you're given to the feeling of vulnerability and not doing much, and not taking action proactively, and not taking the situation under your in your own hands, then it would move you into depression. Then you can land into depression. But there is another aspect of it. What is that? Now that you know that you are in this particular gray area of being vulnerable, there are steps, there are mindset that I'm going to tell you, which I have applied in my life. So this is my own framework of mindset and steps that I have applied. So typically I come into this situation after every 2 years, wherein I have the sense of being vulnerable, what to do next. So I thought I better write down the steps that I have taken. So this whole session is coming from my article which I have written in LinkedIn. So I thought I will share with you guys this particular steps. So what we were discussing is this particular area, this gray area which is vulnerable. We have to identify that you are there in that particular area. You need certain mindsets, you need certain steps, how you can make sure that you come victorious out of this gray area, out of this feeling of vulnerability. So as written or as said by a famous American professor, Dr. Bern Brown, vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity and change. So that is the power of vulnerability. She has also written a beautiful book called as Power of Vulnerability. If you guys get a chance to read that book. So now we saw that vulnerability is a good thing. Yeah, it is important to understand that you are in that state and you should then act on it. What I'm going to now tell you is that how you can act on it. Yeah, so for that I would tell you two things. One is the mindset that is required, and the next one is a 7-step process or a 7-step strategy by what you can make most of this particular situation. Hi Bhavya, thanks for joining. So now what is the mindset? First we will see what is the mindset that is required. The first thing which is important is, before we actually move into the mindset, let me tell you my story. So this, like I mentioned, after every 2 years I come into this junction of being vulnerable. So the latest or this was in somewhere around 2017, and then by end of 2018. So these two were the two times wherein I had applied this particular steps and particular mindset that I'm going to share with you guys. So the first mindset that you should be having is that you should believe that you are good enough. So this, whenever we come into this situation of feeling vulnerable, the first thing is we start questioning ourselves. Am I not good enough? Am I not worthy enough? So all these am I not questions, it starts creeping in. That is where you will have to tell yourself that you are good enough to do whatever you have to do. Okay, so that is the first mindset you should have. The second is the courage to accept who you are wholeheartedly. So here I would like to tell you a small story. 2017 I was I was in a situation wherein I was leading a group of around 20-25 people, and it was prestigious. So within 15 years of experience, not 15 that time, I think I was around 12 years of experience, I was already leading a group, and it was a very challenging position, and it was a position which will give you a lot of focus, a lot of interactions with the higher ups. So it was that kind of a position. So but then the other side of that situation was I was also having a 2-year-old kid at home. My work required me to put in around 12 to 13 hours or more than that, and then I was not able to manage the house part of it, the kid part of it. So that is why the courage to accept who you are wholeheartedly at that point in time is very important. So that is the second mindset that you should be having. Yeah, first is that you have to believe that you are good enough. You are not thinking of the feeling of vulnerability generally makes you put you into the situation that you are not good enough, and that's why you're feeling vulnerable. The third thing is that you accept your imperfection. I would not call it as an imperfection, rather I would call it an imbalance. There was an imbalance. It was very important to accept that there was an imbalance, and then think what can be done next. The fourth thing is that accept who you could be. Very important. Accept who you could be rather than who you should be. Yeah. So typically in a career perspective, there is a kind of a there's a preconceived notion that if you are 8 years, you should be in this position. If you are having 10 years of experience, you should be in this position. If you are having 15 years of experience, you should be in this position. The should be's are very dangerous, guys. This is something which you have to make sure that you see your current situation. Instead of focusing on what you should be, look for what you could be at that particular point in time. Okay, so these are the 4 mindset which are very important before you move into the 7-step strategy that I will be sharing now, so that you make sure that you're making more of this vulnerable situation and you're coming out victorious out of this vulnerable situation. Okay, I think there's some lag, I'm not sure, but guys, do you see any lag in the video? Just any one of you can help me, but I think now it is better. Okay, so we have seen how by this S curve why vulnerability is necessary, and how it is important to treat the vulnerability and make sure that we come out victorious from the situation. The second thing is that the mindset that is required for us to act upon it. The last stage of our today's session is the 7-step strategy, or the 7 step-by-step method I'm going to share with you, which will help you come out of this particular situation of feeling stuck and vulnerable victorious. So the first thing, the first and foremost important step is that, okay, thank you. So the first and foremost important step is that just take a deep breath. Okay, take a deep breath, and you are alive. Be grateful to God for that. Okay, this is not the end of it. Okay, so that is very important, guys. Any situation, any kind of confusion you are in your life, if you just relax and just take a deep breath. If you have seen Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, there's a very beautiful dialogue by Hrithik Roshan. So it's very simple. Just keep breathing. So it's as simple as that. So first step is that take a deep breath. Okay. Hey Priya, thanks for joining. The second step is that write down the reason of feeling stuck. For my case, I wrote down why I was feeling vulnerable. Okay, so this is something which is very personal. You need not share it with anybody, but you have to make it crystal clear for yourself, and that will only happen if you write down in a piece of paper that these are the reason why at this point in my time I am feeling vulnerable. Yeah, so once you've written down your reasons for being vulnerable, write down the available options. So for me, during that particular time, I had available options because I was to move to a support functions from core engineering functions, take a sabbatical break, or say for example to quit, or so just write down what are the options which are available for you. So I wrote down those options. I still have that Excel, by the way. So it gives, sometimes I do look into that Excel to kind of, whenever I am tending towards that feeling of getting stuck, when I'm tending towards the feeling of feeling vulnerable, I remind myself that you have come out of the situation once and you can also do it again and again. So it's very important for you to remind yourself. Yeah, we tend to forget all those things very soon. Okay, so the third step is that write down the options that are available for you. Yeah, so I wrote down the options which are available for me. The fourth step is that write down the pros and cons of all the possible options. So you have option A, B, C, D. What are the pros of your options A? What are the cons of your option A? Write it down. What is the pros of your option B? Cons of your option C? The positives and negatives of all the options which are available in front of you. Write it down. Yeah. So so I did it same for all the different options. So what will happen if I continue with my current role of a group lead in the engineering domain or in the engineering vertical? So what are the pros and cons of me moving into a support domain? What are the pros and cons of me kind of taking a sabbatical leave, and what are the pros and cons of me quitting the job? So write down the pros and cons. Once you've written down the pros and cons, that is where the fifth step will come, wherein you will be clear enough to select plan. So my recommendation, select 2 plans, one as a main plan, one as a backup plan. Yeah, so I selected a couple of plans. Okay, so then once you have written down the plans, write down your action items for achieving. So for me, my main plan was to move to a support functions rather than any other options which were available for me at that particular point in time. So I moved to a support functions, and then the sixth step is that you have to write down how you're going to get there. So having a plan and achieving that plan, there are the activities or the actions which are required. So write down these activities that you're required to do to achieve this particular plan. So I wrote down whom I have to meet, what I have to propose, what I have to, what are the different things that I'll have to learn. Say for example, something, what are the different competencies I need to learn. So write down all these particular action items that is required. Now the last part of it is very important, which is like executing your plan. Yeah, so you have a plan, you have also written down the actions, but very important is that once you have you have achieved couple of them, you look back and see that, okay, are you going towards the right direction of meeting your plan? So this part, the 7th step of kind of executing and then coming back and checking whether you're on the right track, is very important. Okay, so basically if you follow this 7 step or the 7 step process, I can assure you that you will come out victorious, not only one time but every time in your life that you feel this, you get this feeling of stuck, or you are vulnerable towards situations. And that is when, my friend, you move from gaining one expertise to gaining another expertise. Yeah, hi Purva, thanks for joining. So with this, guys, I will end the session. But before I go, in my previous session I had an announcement that I will be uploading a free downloadable guide and worksheet in my website, which will help you to reduce your weight by from the comfort of your home, without spending huge amount. Not only reduce but also maintain your weight. So I have listed down 3 strategies. I have also given out many secrets which, or many tips which I had used for me, which has helped me reduce. So where you can find that, that's absolutely free. You can go and download it in my website, that is www.manishabhattacharya.com. In the home page itself, if you just scroll down and then just below the picture of my before and after picture of my weight loss journey, there is a button which says yes, I want it. Click on it and then given your email address, and I would be sending you the free downloadable PDF, the worksheets and the strategies. So I will be sharing with you, and do share your journey, how this session, particularly this session, if you are currently in that situation, after applying this particular mindsets, the 4 mindsets that we spoke about, the 7 steps that we spoke about, the step by step method, how you can come out victorious out of this particular feeling of being vulnerable. How did it help you? Also, after downloading the free guide and the worksheets, do let me know, keep me updated as to how it has helped you to achieve your ideal weight and maintain your ideal weight. So thanks for joining, guys. Do stay tuned. I go live every Saturday 6:30 p.m. IST in Instagram, from my Instagram account, and 6 p.m. IST from my Facebook account. So with I will continue the series of Why I Fail, What I Learned series. And for now, stay safe, maintain social distancing, and do whatever you can do for you, good for you, for yourself and your family. Take care and have a blessed weekend. Thank you. Good night. Bye.